Hey guys, Matt, IronTrap Garage. Today we're going to be doing another little update on the 33 window project. And today we are going to work on trying to get the doors to even remotely fit the car. So one of the big problems with this car, since I've got the car, that's actually kind of scared me, is that the doors fit terribly. When you open the doors, they drop very, very far, and the doors don't line up. The body line isn't even close, and you can see how far off. I mean, I can stick my hand here between the gap when they droop. Very poor on this car, and I haven't really exactly figured out what it is. So we're going to try and go through the process before we start getting into locking this body in and figure out exactly what's going on with these doors. And hopefully our small victory by the end of this video is to get the doors that actually open and shut on this car relatively easy. So let's get started. Alright, so I pushed the car over so we can get to this door and work it. And straight away when I'm starting to work on this, I could see that this lower door hinge is definitely a problem. So this door hinge, first of all, this little section here is like U-shaped on this side of the hinge. Is actually like U-shaped, probably from the door swinging open and getting bent. So it's hard to get in there with a, but you can see there's, hold a straight edge up till you can see it's bent. So this is bent away. The other thing is this half of the hinge is bent forward. There's a big gap behind it. And you can see when you stand over top of the hinges that this isn't even remotely lined up with this one. So what we need to do, I think, first of all, is bend this whole mess back, and that's going to pull the whole door back and also lift up. So I'm going to use our handy dandy giant inch and adjustable wrench with a cheater bar and give this some tweaking and pull it back, and then we'll see where it ends up. It's already really tight in here, and I think this is going to crash up here as well. So we'll see what happens, but we're going to start by doing that there with the door on, see if we can get this to bend back. It'll also at the same time unbend this a little bit, hopefully. So it'll be doing two things at once with this initial bend, and hopefully we'll see a lot of movement out of just doing that, because that is most definitely a problem. I mean, I can fit my finger in between there, and on some of the other cars I have we looked at, and it's not nearly as bad like that. These screws are loose, I think, just from they might have loosened them to allow the door to, the hinge to move around. I just can't believe these screws even move. Okay. Alright, so that will solve the play in the door hinge. Alright, so just shut it a little bit, and then I'm going to swap with you. Stand back to this hinge here. So just close it 3/4 away and just pick up a little bit. Okay, now we got rid of that slack. So this having both of these going like that, I think I need both of them to go back. So I'm using my handy dandy hinge bending tool. You may want to just yeah, there you go. Alright, that tweaked it a little bit. A little less droop. Yeah. Just doing that little bit already. There, that's better. I mean, it wouldn't even latch on its own before. So that little bit helped considerably already. But we still want the door to naturally sit up, so. See, we're taking out the bend there a little bit. This had a bigger view in it, right. And we're bringing this back. We're bringing this one was forward, and this one had a U in it, and I think it's with the door swinging open with no door check, and it bent the hinges kind of weak the door. While doing that, we're bending both pieces in that shot. Let me see. That feels a lot better. It's latching now. Oh, baby. Damn.
Just found something good?
Oh, he's done.
Not done, but we're there. We're almost on, or at least getting close. I think.
It used to come out and go boom.
Yeah. Well, the catch is.
Yeah, I can see it.
It's halfway on now, at least. Before it was almost all the way off, so it's naturally hanging better.
But when they cut this and this, all bets are off. Everything's a little.
Yeah, we think that I think when they chopped this car, they said, hey, we're going to take we're going to whack 4 inches out of the roof. Took the doors off, chopped the roof, put it back on. Then they did this on the bench, whacked 4 inches out of the door and didn't fit the door to the car. And then they put the door on and the hinges are bent. They welded the pieces on without fitting it to the roof, and it's like, oh shit,
right.
This thing don't even remotely close. So this ended up jamming in too tight because if they would have fit it to the car, then they would have changed all this. You know, they would have changed the way they welded this little piece in here and all this stuff. So because they didn't do that, we have to, without cutting the whole car apart, we have to do some creative adjustments. So, but I think the biggest issue was this hinge is all bent. And just that little bending we did that much difference.
Actually, down here, the gap's nice, right?
It should be getting better because I'm bending that hinge back, which is pulling the door, and now we're starting to, before we didn't even have, it was overlapping up to here. Now we have at least daylight down to about here.
Yeah.
So as we're doing this, it's fixing multiple problems. It's lifting the door, it's pulling it back, but I still think there's going to be a problem because they did so much of the car without it being braced or, you know, fitting the pieces together. Slow, Jesus. I think it did. Make sure it doesn't fly across the room. There we go. Yeah, that one's in there. Yeah, just gotta clean these so they just kind of slide in real nice. So, latch. Okay. Now we can see this hinge is probably far enough back. That one looks like it's still got a U in it.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of the damage out here, but that hinge we couldn't bend independently the way we were doing it. So that one's probably close to where it needs to be. special tube we use for bending spindles, the little helper.
The door adjustment tool.
Yeah, yeah, now it's a door adjustment. Yeah.
Oh.
Removed.
Yeah, and this did.
Okay, good. I hope that it has some memory to it, so when we tweak on it in the right direction, it bends back from where it was damaged. I don't know if this needs to go back or not. Yeah, let's test fit it before I bend two things. All right. Just about flush. And that's just about flush. Okay. So now we'll check and see what we got there. Oh yeah, we're getting a lot closer.
Yeah.
A little better.
Yeah, every time's a little.
All right, so got this door to shut. We had the guide for this door. You can see already it doesn't drop like a foot, but the guide actually broke or was broken there. So we got to get some reproduction guides either way, but this one made it a little tougher because we didn't have that guide to kind of help us when we were getting it. But door shuts pretty nicely considering how bad this door was. The other side, which we'll go over to in a second, wasn't as bad as far as how bad it was drooping, but the other side took some more work. So kind of a quick synopsis of what happened is both of these doors, this lower hinge, I think the door had flung open and had uncurled, well actually this hinge is supposed to have almost like a little curve this way. It was actually the opposite way. So the door side was actually curved completely the opposite way, which was forcing us to go down. This hinge in the back was bent back, or I'm sorry, forward, and we had to bend it back to a point and then start curling this back the right way. So that was the big part of what corrected this door. Now a couple of things I had to do. I had to sand this back edge here because it was actually jamming into the back here as we were getting closer, and that was causing a problem. So we opened that up a little bit, and on this door the top gap isn't too bad. It's a little bit fat here where they chopped it. They didn't quite match it right. So we'll have to do a little bit of adjustment, but overall, like I said, it's pretty good. One thing that happens on these cars when the doors do get flung open is this bottom corner can get bent out. I don't know if the door's twisted, but we noticed on Beautiful, we know for a fact that that door had swung open on her, and that door is the same problem where this front edge is actually out just a little bit. But I wanted to get both doors actually latching. Then we can go back once we start getting the body all like braced up and the floor's in and everything's solid. We can go back and kind of tweak some of that stuff. But right now everything's moving around too much. If we try and twist on this door, it's bending the quarter, it's doing all kinds of stuff. So can't do that. So on the other side, wasn't fitting as bad, but actually took some more work around the top of the door because this door was jamming into the top there. So we actually had to sand back the top of the door some to get this so that the door would actually sit up. This side does have a guide in it, but it is very worn. So you'll notice that the body line is a little low here still, but not as bad as the other side because that's missing the guide. This side, the guide's just worn. So if we put two new guides in there for the dovetails, I think it'll bring everything up just right, and actually the body lines will match pretty good. This side is kind of the same deal. So you can see on the bottom of this door fits a lot better. So I think this door may not have been damaged as badly, which was kind of the droop that it had. That was pretty obvious. So this door isn't as bad in that bottom corner, but the gaps are tight on both front doors. So we will need to sand and kind of fit those door gaps, but that's what it takes when you have an old hot rod jalopy that we're trying to make into a usable car. But huge victory getting both the doors just to latch without having a ton of bracing in the car. That means that we are in the ballpark, and once we start getting bracing and floors and all that stuff in it, it should only get better from there and more solid. So that is a big improvement. I think one of the next things we're going to do is probably work on a floor, also like a hoop in the back to kind of tie the B-pillars together and help brace everything. So we're going to be doing more of that structural type work, but I needed to get the doors even remotely close. This is the first time this thing hasn't had like ratchet straps around the doors to keep them from even just falling open when you were just moving the car around. So really psyched about that. It's stupid. Doors opening and shutting are such a big hurdle to get over on all of these projects. I remember the free tee, all of them. It's like you're so psyched sending videos to your friends like, look, my door's shut. Just so silly, but it's awesome. So thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate it. Hopefully this video might help you if you have a 33.4 and it has problems, these same type of problems. You can look at those door hinges and you might be able to use some of these old school techniques to get your doors to fit a little bit better. Thanks guys. Catch you later.